Hi, I'm Nick the History Kid. I'm a young patriot who loves history, especially Revolutionary War history. I go to the Peck School in Morristown, New Jersey, where George Washington lived from 1779 to 1780. General Washington spent more time in New Jersey during the Revolutionary War than any other state. Now we are here at Mount Vernon, his home and final resting place. We're about to learn about the man who was first in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen. During the American Revolutionary War, Washington served without a salary and successfully led an inexperienced army against Great Britain, the most powerful military force in the world at the time. Mount Vernon is where he came home to recharge his soul and dream of our nation's birth. George Washington's plantation on the banks of the beautiful Potomac River is a fascinating world in which he lived. Welcome to Mount Vernon, home of George Washington, the father of our country. George Washington acquired Mount Vernon in 1754. During the next 45 years, he greatly expanded his home to reflect his status as a Virginia gentleman. Even when Washington was away at war, he oversaw every detail of the house's design, construction, and decoration. This is Mount Vernon's kitchen. George Washington once said, "I can truly say I'd rather be at home at Mount Vernon with a friend or two about me than to be attended at the seat of government by officers of state and the representatives of every power of Europe." We are now at the back of Mount Vernon. Up here is Washington's bedroom, where he died in 1799. George Washington was a surrogate father for several generations of young people and served for years on the vestry of his church. Come here and walk in Washington's footsteps in his beloved gardens. Now, for my New Jersey connection. General George Washington spent more time in New Jersey during the Revolutionary War than any other state. All of Washington's historic journeys in New Jersey began here at Mount Vernon. We are now on the Mount Vernon wharf, catching a cool breeze. This is George Washington's horse-drawn vehicle. Be sure to check out the blacksmith shop.
If you all have any questions, make sure you let me know.
This was life in the men's bunk room. We are now at the slave burial ground. Washington tried to influence others as he made provisions in his will to free all the slaves who belonged to him. There are about 75 slaves and free blacks who worked for the Washington family during the 18th century and half of the 19th century buried here. George Washington died in his bedchamber at Mount Vernon on December 14, 1799. In his will, he directed that he be buried at Mount Vernon. He also picked a site for a new brick tomb to replace the original burial vault behind me, which was deteriorating. This new tomb was completed in 1831, and Washington's body was moved here along with his wife Martha and other family members.
Come up next to me, please. Okay, here we go. Okay, you ready? Okay, well, everybody, we have something really special happening here this morning. I have next to me a young man who's very interested in history in general and saving historic places in particular, I think, from what I read on his website. This is Nick Mathis, and his website is nickthehistorykid.com. He's here at Mount Vernon today to lay a wreath and pay his respects to George Washington. And so I think without further ado, we will go ahead and do that. We're going to begin by doing the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone, gentlemen, remove your hats. Nick, why don't you face the flag and lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nick, would you please get the wreath and bring it up here in front of the tomb? Put it right in the middle there. Perfect. And now to honor George Washington, Nick has chosen to read something. Yeah. And who's written that, Nick?
Thomas Jefferson. The moderation and virtue of a single character probably prevented this revolution from being closed, as most others have been. By subversion of that liberty it was intended to establish.
Thank you. Was there anything else that you were thinking of saying on your website about George Washington?
I really like the Revolutionary War. It's my favorite kind of history. When you come to the tomb, you would see on the wall next to it graffiti from Civil War heroes. In particular, I see Joshua L. Chamberlain, the hero of Gettysburg.
So it kind of evolves over time. So
Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. The Museum and Education Center offers a memorable experience that spans George Washington's life in the state-of-the-art facility. (1751) George Washington at age 19. This is a sword carried by George Washington during the French and Indian War. George Washington, age 45, 1777.
That I will faithfully execute
That I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. This is a recreated coffin that George Washington is buried in. Mount Vernon tells the story of one man's life and our nation's birth. George Washington demonstrated how the actions of one person can change the world. If you have visited New Jersey's historical General Washington sites, then all roads now lead to Mount Vernon, where you can personally say thank you to the father of our country. Until next time, I'm Nick the History Kid, and remember my state slogan, New Jersey, from the Revolutionary War to the Jersey Shore, both history and fun awaits you.